Hey guys, and welcome to a long overdue new episode of Metal Monday. This is going to be a long one. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about my personal recommendations for the second half of 2021. All the stuff that came out from July up until end of November, just because I was honestly feeling burned out by the time that November came around. Before we begin, I need to preface two things. One, there was no way I could possibly get to every single album that came out this year. That's just way too impossible of a task for me to do. So, with that being said, with the first part being said, if you are watching this video and you feel like there's albums that I missed, feel free to drop them in the comments for other people to check them out as well. And the second half is, I remember I was talking about this in the first part of the video of my top recommendations of 2021, part 1. I said that there was oddly no like melodic death metal releases that came out that year that like grabbed my attention. This one rectifies that. So, without further ado, let's get started. So the first one I want to talk about is a band from Japan, actually. This is the only one from Japan that I've got on here. And that is Evil Possessed by Evil. Now this is about as black and thrash as you can possibly get it, and I love it. I remember shortly after I checked this out, I was listening to some of the older Skeleton Witch's stuff, and Evil's not super on par with Skeleton Witch, but man, oh man. It was really making me miss the old days of Skeleton Witch. I was really missing that. Evil, if you love black and thrash metal, you absolutely need to check this out. Next one we have, and I will be butchering the hell out of this album title. The next one that we have is Diabolizer with, oh god, I'm reading this off my phone, so excuse me. We have Diabolizer with Chalcedonian Death. I'm gonna put the title of that album on screen so you guys can check that out for yourselves. But this is essentially Lovecraftian death metal at its finest. So I would say if you're looking at something like Abysmal Dawn or Septic Flesh, but without the symphonic elements to it, this is exactly what Diabolizer is. Lovecraftian death metal, really strong, really brutal. Keeps pelting you in the face with a statue of Cthulhu that I have in the back up here. I'm pretty sure you can't see it, but it's there. That's exactly what you're getting from this. So if you love Lovecraftian death metal, absolutely check this out, and I absolutely recommend that. These next two, remember when I was talking about Cannibal Corpse in my last video for this? These next two are pretty much on par with the quality of Cannibal Corpse's album that came out this year. And the first one of those two is Dawn and Quartered with Congregation Pestilence. Jesus Christmas, from the first track that I listened to of this was absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely terrific. It really pummeled you in the face with a shovel and just wouldn't stop until you were just bludgeoned. Or just the fact that your face was unrecognizable, if not mushed into the ground. My God, it hit. That album hit hard with death metal quality to it. Absolutely recommend that if you really love old school death metal. This was honestly really giving it Cannibal Corpse a huge run for their money. Absolutely, without question. The next one is Fulci with Exhumed Information. This album, if you love like Fulci movies like The Beyond, House by the Cemetery, absolutely check this out if you love death metal and you love Lucio Fulci movies, because the albums are basically presented as much. And I know this is a sin, and this is possibly going to get copyright claimed for this, but there's a small section of guitar work that I absolutely have to show you guys. This, because it's heavily underutilized on one of their tracks. It's heavily underutilized, and I love how evil it sounds. Check it out. But yeah, if you love Fulci, or if you love death metal that involves like horror movie stuff, you really need to check this out. I can't recommend it enough. Next, we have Fetid Zombie with Transmutations. So this one, this is another really good, solid death metal release that came out this year. I know my one coworker really isn't a huge fan of it, but he's a bit of a snob when it comes to death metal. If there's any hint of cleans in there, he writes it off immediately. But me, they don't bother me too much. It was an odd touch in there, I will say that, but it didn't hinder my experience with it whatsoever. So I would recommend you guys to check them out. And I really think you should do that. And our first melodic death metal one that is going to be featured in this is Ultima, Symphony of the Night. Whoo-hoo! I don't know where this came from, but holy shit. This was just greatness to my ears. I loved hearing this. This made me a very, very happy camper. I remember I posted on Reddit a while back at the beginning of July saying, where's this melodic death metal that's been coming out this year? Where is it? I haven't heard anything about it. Someone had suggested Ultima to me. Whew, I'm so glad they did. I guess I could compare this to, something like early Bodom, but with a lot more symphonic elements to it. Really, really top notch. Absolutely killer. So if you want to check out some really good melodic death metal, heavily check this album out. Next, we have Black and Thrashed from the UK, and this is Craven Idol with Forked Tongues. I mean, for me personally, looking at the album art, the serpent thing on the album art itself looks like Ghidorah, King Ghidorah. I had to check this out as a Godzilla fan. It was like mandatory. It looked like it, which Godzilla we'll be talking about in just a second. But yeah, oh my god. I was in love with this. This was really, really good. Another good Black and Thrash, but nothing, but it's a different kind of quality of Black and Thrash. It's not like Disaster Black Thrash. It's not Skeleton Witch Black Thrash. It's not Evil Black Thrash. It's a odd, different kind of it. Like, you wouldn't even get the thrash element in it if I hadn't even told that to you. But yeah, I would still suggest that you check this out. It's really, really, really good. Absolutely give it a check. And again, don't even take the thrash metal element out of it. You can't even really hear it, or at least I couldn't. Our second melodic death metal entrance in this list is Havamal with The Shadow Chapter. This is kind of, the way I could describe these guys is if Amon Amarth took inspiration from Children of Bodom's synth elements, and they blended that together. Which, thank God, because I stopped giving two shits about Amon Amarth after Jom's Viking. They just fell off flat for me, but this is really good. They have the Norse elements. It's not like Johan Hegg's lows. There's definitely a lot of high, like high Children of Bodom style vocals in there as well. So if that's the kind of something that you're looking at, like a Norse mythology-esque style of like Children of Bodom, this is what you're looking for. Check this out if you haven't done so already. Next, we have a surprising hit from my neighbors over in Indiana, and this is Fleshbore with Embers Gather. funny enough, looking at the album art, I wouldn't have thought that this was tech death. Not in the slightest. The logo and the artwork just don't paint that picture. What you're looking at with the album art just screams like... it screams like some kind of black metal style when you look at the album art picture itself. But that's not what you get. You get pure straight tech death goodness from this. So if you're into tech death, please support these guys. I can see these guys blowing the F up if they haven't done so already. Check out Fleshbore if you haven't done so. You need to do it. Please support these guys. These dudes are freaking incredible, and I really look forward to seeing what they've got coming up in the future. And next we have some symphonic black, and that is Arcane Existence with Colossus. Now, this kind of reminds me a small bit of Cradle of Filth, which is funny because I feel like this album did Cradle of Filth better than Cradle of Filth did, actually. Because I wasn't exactly a huge fan of their newest album. It's good, but it's spoiler. It's not on this list. But yes, Arcane Existence reminds me of like the old symphonic days of Cradle of Filth, kind of like Duskerner Embrace, like Vampire, all those earlier days of Cradle of Filth. So if that's up your alley, if that's kind of the stuff that you're into, check this out. You won't be disappointed. Remember how I said we were going to be talking about Godzilla and King Ghidorah, kaijus and all that stuff? That's the next band that I get to talk about. And that is Oxygen Destroyer with probably the longest album title in this list. And that is Sinister Monstrosities Spawned by Unfathomable Ignorance of Humankind. Wow. These guys claim themselves as kaiju metal, but what they really are is a mix of black, thrash, and death. It is just all intertwined, meshes together so well. It's amazing how I didn't get into these guys until right around this album was coming out, when they were putting out the singles for this album. Jesus Christmas. It is really good. Really, really, really good. If you haven't done so already, check them out. If you're interested in the slightest on how they sound, check them out. If you shouldn't be disappointed if you're into like black and death. You'll easily be in for a good time. So good. And here's our first large name band to be featured in this video, and that is Carnifex with Graveside Confession. So this is actually, for me personally, this is a huge step up from World War X for them, because I feel World War X sucked. Going off from slow death immediately into World War X, not good. There was just something about it that just didn't rub me the right way with World War X. This one rectifies it. This one actually sticks within the confines of what real Black deathcore is and what it can be. And according to my coworker, Lorna Shore is about to really make that genre blow up next year, if they haven't done so already with To the Hellfire and all that. But yeah, this is another good step in the right direction. And personal note that I do want to say with Carnifex is that it kind of sucks that when I went to go see them with Black Dahlia, Rivers of Nile, and Undeath back in September in Chicago, it kind of sucks that they got snubbed from playing longer. I think they only did like maybe, I think it was like 3 or 4 songs. That was sucked. I wish they had stayed more, because they have the definite profound ability to stay in there, and they really should, and they really deserve that. But yeah, I don't need to describe Carnifex to you, at least their sound wise. You should know by now. If you like Carnifex and you haven't checked it out, you need to do so. Really top notch album. So this next one apparently is going to be causing a bit of controversy, just because I guess there's like some kind of ideology that goes against saying I didn't look into it, but I know there's some controversy with this band, but I'm going to look past what's causing the controversy and focusing other music specifically. And that is Graveland, Hour of Ragnarok. I listened to this at work one day. Really good Norse black metal stuff. I was absolutely enthralled with it. It was kind of reminding me like the band Elfwar, but with just straight raw black metal. Really, I personally really enjoyed that. So if that's your cup of tea, check it out. I don't think you should be disappointed. Just kind of know what you're going in, because apparently this band's supposed to be really hated for whatever reason. I don't remember exactly what the issues were. We get two large name bands back to back from here, and and funny enough, they both came out with new albums at the exact same time. And the first one is Inferi with Vile Genesis. Holy crap! These guys are a master at technical melodic death metal. This is easily like this is a heavy contender for album of the year. I don't do album of the years anymore. But I forgot what track it is, but it's the ending track. I'll edit it in here somewhere. But this track, holy shit. The one track alone, and I'm pretty sure it's like the ending one, the final track alone just solidifies its album of the year contention. It's super, super, super good. It's just evil, melodic, techie, brutal, everything you could expect from Inferi to do. Inferi, if any of the guys from Inferi are watching this, heaven forbid, you guys are doing astounding work. You guys are absolutely going places. You guys freaking rock. You guys are awesome. Keep up the fucking good work. Be proud of yourselves on this. And the next large name, which I do want to talk about them for a bit in just a slight little rant, quote unquote, and that is Abortion with Maniac Cult. So I don't know why, but for whatever reason, despite the fact that these guys are a large name, I also feel like they're also a bit underground. They have that like level that they work like an equilibrium where like they're a large name, but they're also pretty low key at the exact same time. They have a great presence on social media, much like with Carnifex does too. So if they tend to watch this, or if they acknowledge the fact that I mentioned them on like Twitter or some whatever, yeah, you guys are doing really good work. You guys are keeping up some really good work. So anyway, Maniac Cult, it's aborted. You know what you're in for. But man, these guys, they really do tend to set themselves higher and higher with each album. Each one just sounds better than the previous, which is kind of difficult to do. And yet they keep doing it. So, great job, Aborted. You guys know how Aborted sounds. Check them out if you like them already. So this next one I actually just discovered earlier this year. It was going to be in a video I was supposed to do a long time ago, but I was having complications with like recording everything. But this is a band that I wanted to talk about, and this is from Canada, and this is Wormwich with Wolfhex. So this is kind of like a black and thrash-esque style. I would say kind of a I guess more noisy-esque style. Like, think of like Skeleton Witch, old Skeleton Witch mixed with Full of Hell. I guess that's probably the best way I can describe it. That's the sound I get from them, but it's really good. I absolutely love it. It works well. So if that's kind of the stuff that you're into, I would suggest checking them out. They just put a new album out, as obviously. Yeah, it's just really good. I can't recommend them enough. Ooh, so this next one's actually rather interesting, and this is Wraith with Undo the Chains. So this is technically like black metal in the sense of like Venom and Destroyer 666. It's like black metal is speed metal. in that sense. And it's really good. I absolutely love this. It's terrific. I honestly suggest you check them out if you like old school Venom, but you also like the sounds of Destroyer 666. But there's like a slight more as hint of like black metal in the vocals, but otherwise that's exactly the sound type that you get. Incredibly top notch, very good. This next one actually blew me away with how much I liked it, because the album art doesn't paint the picture justice of this band, and that is Crystal Coffin with the Starway Eternal. Honestly, looking at this album art, I did not expect to enjoy it. It's shockingly well done. It's like I was expecting. This is gonna sound very weird for me to say, but because my brother was a huge Crystal Coffins fan, or not Crystal Coffin, I'm sorry, Crystal Castle fan, I was kind of expecting that sound to come from these guys. But thankfully, that's not what I got. I got some really good symphonic black metal, which is shocking because the album art just doesn't paint the picture. It's super, super, super good. If you like symphonic black metal, I suggest checking them out. Very, very good. These next two, and we got two other ones that are also large names. And the first one is Hate with... It's either pronounced Rugia or Rugia or Rugia, something like that. So I don't know if you're like me, but as much as I like Behemoth, I'm getting a little sick of Nurgle's artsy fartsy turn that he took after his battle with leukemia. I'm a little sick of the artsy-fartsy style from them, which is where Hate comes in. Hate still consists of the style that they've crafted alongside with Behemoth, but Hate does it well. Hate still keeps it going without being too artsy-fartsy about it. And that's what I really like about him. I got around to Hate around the time that they came to Chicago with Mayhem and Keep of Colossus back in 2011, I believe it was. And I've loved them ever since. And they were, back when Devastation of the Nation came in 2019, they were the one band that absolutely sold me to that show because I wanted to see them again. But yeah, Hate is absolutely terrific. If you haven't done it, if for whatever reason you haven't heard of Hate, but you like Behemoth, do yourselves a favor and check out Hate. Super, super good. This next one is another big name, and this is technically much like how Carcass was with Surgical Steel. This is a return album from a long-time hiatus, and that is Aeon with God Ends Here. What a comeback album. Jesus Christ. This was just assault on the ears. This is Aeon as you know it. If you've known Aeon... If you've known Aeon for years, this is exactly what you're getting. It's Aeon perfection. Absolutely perfect death metal that just gives you a swift, blasphemous punch in the face. But the punch is like venomous. It lingers there. It's so good. There's a lot of great qualities to this Hate album. And if you have not checked out this Hate album already, just stop what you're doing. It's on YouTube. It's on Spotify. Please check this out. It's so good. Now, this next one is a debut album, but the vocalist behind it is not new to the metal scene in the slightest. In fact, he has another project coming up that I'll talk about in a bit, and that is Grand Cadaver with Into the Maw of Death. So, do you like Dark Tranquillity? Do you like old school Swedish death metal like Dismember? This is what you get. This is those two worlds combined. Because you have Michael Staine's gruffiness, or you have Michael Staine's vocals mixed with stuff from like Dismember, and it blends super, 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 super well. And oh my god, if Michael Staine is watching this, heaven forbid, please find a way to have a show where you come and just do, in the US, and do Grand Cadaver. That would be absolutely terrific. I would kill for that. That would absolutely be amazing. Same with the In Flames 2.0 Halo effect. If you can bring the Halo effect to the States, which I can easily see that happening, you need to find a way to do that. It's anything you touch is like gold. So yeah. Anyway, going back to Grand Cadaver, it's old school Swedish death metal with Dark Tranquility vocals. If you like both of those, this is for you. You need to check this out. And I've been trying to get people to listen to it ever since it dropped. It's so good. Next, I get to share some love with some homeboys here in Chicago with a band that I actually played with, which is funny enough because both of us opened for Dark Tranquility back in January of 2015. And these are my boys, Withering Soul with Last Contact. My god. These guys do melodic Black and Death super, super good, super well. These guys are really good at their craft. I loved playing with these guys. I wish I had done more shows with these guys. They're super nice. They're super cool. Even with Michael now leaving the role of vocalist. I know Chris. Chris is really good in here, as well as Blood of the Wolf, I think it's called. I might edit in. I'm gonna edit in here if that's the correct name. But yeah, Withering Soul, I love what you guys do. Love you guys. I wish I had stuck around longer with music, so I can do more shows with you guys. You guys are incredible. So next we have another melodic death metal act, and that is Starforger with Wreath of Frost. So this one I'm still kind of a little new with. This one just kind of came up recently. But I would say this is kind of reminding me of like a little bit of Winter Sun in a sense, if that makes any sense. But that's kind of the picture that I get when I think of melodic death metal with these guys. A little bit of fast, but I guess it's also kind of like Mors Principium Est. I think that's probably the best way I can describe it. Winter Sun meets Mors Principium Est. If that's the kind of style that you like with your melodic death metal, check them out. Really good. And now we have probably the last large name that will come off this list, and that is Hypocrisy with Worship. Before I talk about it, I'm super excited to actually see these guys at Maryland Death Fest next year. Man, Maryland Death Fest got so much better with each update that they did. But yeah, Hypocrisy, what can I say? If you like Hypocrisy's style melodic death metal, really, really good. They do super, super well. They're always on point. Really good. Super excited to see them at Maryland Death Fest. If you like Hypocrisy, check them out. Next, we have a melodic death metal act from Russia, and that is Core of Dying Earth, Hello World. But yeah, these guys, fresh new. I just discovered them not too long ago because I was looking through some more melodic death metal feeds, and I found them. Really good. I would say, as far as sound quality goes, I think it's kind of reminiscent of like Arch Enemy meets... or excuse me, old Arch Enemy back when Angelo was still in the band. It's like old Arch Enemy mixed with, Starkill. They were mixed with, like, if those two worlds collided. That's essentially what you get here. Because the band is fronted by a chick, and it's very noticeable, but it's still really good. I enjoy that kind of diversity from it. So if you like either Starkill or arch enemy, check him out. So this might actually be the next one, the last large name, quote unquote, because the other band that they're in is far more well known, and that is Kandra with A Dying Wish. So these guys, if you don't know, this is a side project with at least one of the other guys from Obscura. And I always prefer Kandra over Obscura, if I'm going to be completely honest. In the past, you have always known that Obscura and Kandra sound exactly the same when it comes in terms to vocals. But this one, I don't know if the vocalist changed, or if he figured out a way to do like proper black metal vocals. But man, it shows. There's a way difference in quality in vocals here. Instrumentation-wise, it's still the same as you would expect from Kandra. But yeah, super well done. If you like melodic death and melodic black metal intertwined like Dissection, you need to check this out. It's super good. Next is a death metal album, or a death metal band that I just discovered this year that I think is actually a comeback album for them, much like with Aeon. And that is Daemonicus with Eschaton. Or Eschaton. I have no idea how to pronounce that. So yeah, this is kind of like Deicide-esque death metal, if that makes any sense. Yeah, the vocals are especially kind of like Deicide, but hey, I'm sure they don't need an iPad to read lyrics. But yeah, like if this is pretty much akin to Deicide. If you like Deicide, you would like these guys. Check them out. This next one is fresh new, and I fell in love with them ever since I discovered them, and I need to listen to this album a lot more than I have done so already. And I'm gonna butcher this name, and they are Canbard with Devoured by the Oak. So this is akin to like stuff like Summoning and Kaladin Brood. If you like that kind of symphonic or atmospherical black metal, this is exactly what you're getting. Oh wow, I was blown away by it. I didn't like the album art, so I was kind of torn away from it. But then eventually I got recommended it way too much. I was like, all right, screw it, let's test it out. I wish I had listened to it before. It's super good. But yeah, if you like stuff like Kaladin Brood and Summoning, this is an album for you. You need to listen to it. And this last band that that I'm going to be talking about is a black metal band that I think this is their debut album, and if it is, keep an eye on these guys because they're going to go places. And that is Groza with the Redemptive End. So this is a black metal band I can see going forward because the vocal styles are kind of like that of Revocation, in a sense, if that makes any sense. But the instrumentation is all black metal. It's super black metal. And I can't recommend this enough. It's super, super good. And these are my picks for Album of the Year. Or album recommendations for the year. Or is it? Because there's one more band that I actually want to talk about. And that band is... Who is this mysterious band that Pat is keeping secret from us? And why is he keeping it a secret from us? Is it Omnium Gatherum? Is it Taylor Swift? Find out in the next episode of Metal Monday!